So if you got a chance to see the 5 ways to maximize honey, one of the things that Jane Suomi talked about was -1 configuration. And it's basically you're putting 9 frames into a 10 frame box. But the key to it is that you have to be using drawn comb. Because basically what you're doing is putting your 9 frames in. I'm going to try to do this before the bees find me. If I count right, that's 9. And you're like, well, Dave, all that space is going to make a big difference, isn't it? It's like, no. Here's what's important to recognize is that when I'm doing 9 frames and the comb is drawn out, bees insist on making bee space. And bee space is the amount of space that they like to have in between their frames. So what you basically do is you space them out. And once you've got them spaced out perfectly, the bees will build the comb out to that space. You get about 3 to 5 more pounds a hive that way. Most important part of it is that you've got to have comb that's already drawn. It won't work if you are using new comb because they'll just build wanky comb. Early on I thought, well, I'll try that. Well, that's what I did, and that's what I got, was strange wanky comb. So I'm going to put this on. You can see that I have it, I've just eyeballed it. You don't, there are tools out there you can buy that make it perfectly spaced. That's great. You know, you can do that if you want, but you know, you basically just eyeball it. And it's great if you're someone like me and your OCD is through the roof on everything. So when that happens, well, then I can pretty much tell that's perfectly spaced. So I'm going to put this on this hive, and this hive is cranking too, but they were wet last time around, and I've got a screened inner cover that I'm going to put on top of this hive. And I'll show you how simple this is. But wow, something is very hot. My hive tool. So let's get a little smoke in here. Hive tool sitting in the sun. That's crazy hot. So let's pop these guys open. Lots of bees, 1 dead beetle, 2 dead beetles. Ah, damn, missed him. I'm gonna take a peek and see how these guys are doing on this. Okay, let's just get these guys to crawl back in. And all drawn and about to be capped. So they're still going at it. I think we still have a good flow going on here for a little while. So now I'm going to put this screen top on to give them just a little bit more air. But the thing with this, so I have the inner cover. The problem with this particular inner cover, it doesn't no good if you're basically closing everything off. Now these covers are slightly vented, but I want a little bit more ventilation. So this stick will work perfect for me. I know I've said in the past that this is not the configuration that I normally like to have, but this hive, last time I extracted, it was wet. It was running around 18.5, which is pushing the limit. So what I want to do is create that little bit of extra flow through here to dry this honey out. Dry this honey out, and then hopefully as they're building this, dry this out. We'll see how fast they build on this, but you know, we'll come back and show you the beauty of a 9 frame and what it does, especially in extracting. So we'll be back in a couple weeks here, and hopefully this is full. We'll be pulling it, and I'm going to show you what happens when you take it back and extract it. Well, even the best laid plans go awry. Well, it's been a month. I said I'll be back in a few days or whatever. But so summer 2025 right now, and we just finished 14 days of heat indexes up somewhere in the, oh, I don't know, 80s, mid 90s. Let's just say it was miserable. And it's not so much I don't want to work the bees in that. It's just the bees don't need to be worked in that temperature. It's just too hot to be messing around with the hives. And they're cranky. Anyway, so I do want to show you, because I have been in the hives. If you zip back, you're going to see that there were 2 more supers on the hive that we're going to take a peek into. So I've harvested again and pulled, I don't know, a lot of supers. And so, but I did notice that, and I want to show it to you. But I also need to say, a few minutes ago, I said, hey, we're going to show you how we extract that. We hit that hot weather, we hit a dearth. Bottom line to it, we are in the middle of nothing right now. But soybeans haven't bloomed. We get a little bit from soybean, and I'm seeing a lot of goldenrod that's just coming up. So we're probably going to get a little bit of goldenrod and a little bit of the fall flowers, but and that will help finish off these -1s that I put on the top of all these hives. But they're not ready yet, and they probably won't be ready for another month. I'm not giving that long, but that's what we're going to be working on. So I'm at least going to pull a frame, show you what it looks like, and show you the benefits of it. And seriously, I'm getting there. But seriously, you get more out of a -1 configuration than you get from a full 10 frame. And here's the reason why, is that bees will create bee space. We said that a little bit earlier. So they're going to build out to where they get to bee space. If you've got that other frame in there, you actually are getting less space for the bees to build out, and you get 3, 4, 5 more pounds per hive, per super. So it's really kind of a good way to go. You get a lot of meat on the bone, so it's really easy to cut off, and you get a ton of wax. If you're into wax and you need wax for your operation, wax you're going to get. So I think I've got the sun to my back. Sorry about that. But we're going to head over there now that I think I got the smoker going, and we're going to make that happen. So here we go. Well, here we go. Let's take a peek at this and show you what's going on. It's kind of beautiful day compared to what we had. Yeah, that's got danger written all over it, Mr. Dave. So let's take a peek here. Everybody seems pretty calm. Now that we're in early August, things are starting to settle down a bit. Lots of bees. I do like this screen. It does a nice job. This is really old. I'm going to rebuild a lot of these for the hot weather next year. And I'm going to basically dado in some grooves right here to give it a little bit more ventilation at the top. You know, I talked about this hive having been pretty wet up around 18, and what I just talked about a few minutes ago, and the incredible heat that we had and the incredible humidity. I pulled a bunch of these, and I had several that were running up right around 19. So they're actually sitting in a dehumidifier room with a fan over them right now, getting them down to a point that I'm more comfortable with. So that's coming up. But most of them were around 17, but we're talking hot and humid, and it really sucks up the water in these. Okay, so this will give you a really good idea of what I'm talking about. And I'm just going to take one frame out here so you can get a pretty good idea. They do not want to leave. I'm sure hoping I don't have brood up here. I had a hive down the way that for whatever reason, queen must have gotten through the excluder, and we got a hell of a mess on our hands. So I'm going to have to work through that hive quite a bit. But so this can give you an idea of what I'm talking about. They aren't quite there yet, but they're working on it. But you can really see how they're further, much further out than what they would be if everything was packed close together. And you can see that they're building out here. I might be a little bit late this year for these guys to completely fill these in, but it's a great way to go because you end up getting so much more meat on the bones. This probably isn't the best example, but it is, you know, but they'll build them out. They build it out quite a bit more, and you just also only have 9 frames to extract. So that's kind of the beauty of it as well. I'm gonna be going down here a little ways. If I find another one that's even a little thicker, it gives you a better idea. But I think you get the gist of what's going on with that. I think it's a great way to go. Okay, good. So these guys have done a great job of pulling this out. This isn't capped, but it's close. But if you can see the way that they've drawn this out and how far they've drawn it out. So when we extract this, you get all of that comb, and it's got all that wax in it and all that pollen in it, and it just allows you to just get more honey in the hive. So this is just a good example. It gives you an idea of how far they build out, and they basically create bee space in between. And you know, that's why I like this method. This gives you another really good example of how that's drawn out. And you can see what a difference that makes and the ability to just store more honey in it. So anyway, so that's what we've got. And I am right at the end, kind of a honey flow in the summer here. But I think we're gonna get some fall. So that's gonna help. So there's what you have. Yeah, I may do a follow-up or short on this just to show you how that extracts. But I think you get the idea. Thanks for watching, much appreciated. As I always say, it's nice to be liked. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do, become part of the fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next time. So you guys take care, and as always, happy beekeeping. See you soon.